this Michigan story here. I don't know why the Washington Post story is now blocked for me. I read the whole thing yesterday, and now all of a sudden, when I want to use it today, of course, there's going to be some paywall or some shenanigans coming up. I want to remind you also, by the way, folks, that the Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes. I'm just getting frustrated by this damn thing. Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, Michigan, offering not one but two championship courses. Tullymore and St. Ives is located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan. And what you need to do here is you need to give my friend Matt Golden a call, so that, therefore, you can book your stay and play at Tullymore Golf Resort, and you can get out before the season comes to a close. We're supposed to have even better weather throughout the end of the week this week, so that'll be a lot of fun as well. Colors are beautiful outside. You will enjoy it, and if it might be a nice little getaway for you and the wife as well. Take her with you. Grab some cocktails. Head out on the course. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Now, there's always a way around everything in the internet, so here we are behind the paywall. Ha ha! Gotcha, Washington Post. You thought you were going to get me? I've been stealing signs since 1987. The hell out of here. Now, to the actual story here, according to the Washington Post. Some folks were speaking on the condition of anonymity, because that's what everybody does. They did not disclose who hired the outside firm that approached the NCAA. The NCAA, the Big Ten of Michigan, declined to comment yesterday. Last week, the Big Ten confirmed published reports that the NCAA was investigating allegations that Michigan had sent people connected to its football program to attend games of opponents and videotape coaches as they signaled in the plays. We all knew this. The rules do not explicitly prohibit sign stealing, the practice of decoding signals that opposing coaches use to send in play calls to players on the field. The organization does, however, ban video recording opposing coaches as well as in-person scouting of upcoming opponents. There it is. Boom. Right there. Without getting into all the rules jargon, that's the rule. That's what has come into question. In this investigation conducted by this outside firm, whoever that is, Michigan football had been using a sign-stealing operation involving both in-person scouting as well as video recording coaches. And those people said since at least last season, when the team was 13-1, this has been going on. The outside firm's investigation began this season and involved interviews with people knowledgeable about Michigan scouting operations, as well as reviewing documents and videos related to the sign-stealing efforts. On October 17th, those people, whoever they are, said the firm presented its evidence to top NCAA officials. The next day, the Big Ten later confirmed the NCAA informed the conference in Michigan that it had opened an investigation. Connor Stalions is the guy playing the major role in overseeing and coordinating this effort. In the days since Stalions' name has been circulating, there have been videos and photos of him on the sideline near the coaches, near the coordinators. Among the pieces of evidence, according to the Washington Post, the firm has presented, those people said, whoever they are, there was a detailed schedule of Michigan's planned sign-stealing travel for the rest of the season, opponent schedules, games Michigan scouts would attend, how much money was budgeted for travel and tickets to scout each team. This is where it gets real sticky. Planned travels, many as 8 games costing more than $3,000 in travel and tickets. And then, next up on the list after Ohio State, we saw Georgia, 4 or 5 games scheduled for in-person scouting and video recording and costing more than $3,000 in travel and tickets. Expected to spend more than $15,000 this season to send scouts to more than 40 games played by 10 opponents. Stalions didn't do this by himself. He didn't. I maybe he came up with this plan by himself because there was a report out that he had written how he was going to change Michigan football and called the Michigan Manifesto. Okay. Whatever the case may be for this Michigan Manifesto. There's no timeline that's been disclosed for when the NCAA can conclude its investigation. Harbaugh said he and his staff will fully cooperate with the probe, and this is months after Burgergate, in which he was suspended 3 games. Every day that this story goes on, there's a little nugget of information that gets worse. Yesterday, it was, here's the travel schedule and here's the money. Well, I mean, that's it. That's it. It's over. I don't know how else I got to say this. I don't know who else I have to say this to. But, like, it's a wrap, man. I would be incredibly surprised if this team, if they even allow them to compete for a Big Ten championship. The last thing the College Football Playoff Committee wants is a scandal. So, they don't want to have a team play that could potentially not lose the semifinal game and then have to vacate that win. That's it. It's over, man. I don't know how many more ways I need to say it. It started off as funny. It got a lot more serious. We're toast. There's no sense in denying any of it. Like, we can see it all. We now know that there's a paper trail, there's money, there's like this giant spreadsheet document. Like, it's over. We've got the footage of the guy. Now, do I think that, as Coach Prime said yesterday, and I'll reiterate, Dave Portnoy put a video out that was really funny. I didn't tweet it because it's going to be misconstrued, because people can't handle, like, just simple conversation anymore. And it's like, oh, my God. It's like, dude, I need a taser. That's what I need. In this world of the internet, that's what I need. A taser or a riot shield, or maybe a baton, one of the two. Like a nightstick, the extendable one that you just whoosh, comes out. I don't know if you guys have seen those before. Because it's just the two dogs barking. It's the two dogs barking on either side of the fence, and then the fence opens up, and then both dogs just don't do anything but turn around and walk away. That's what the internet is. So I thought about playing the Portnoy video because it was the offensive lineman complaining about the signals from Ohio State, and then Portnoy just yelling, "Connor Stalions," as Aiden Hutchinson blows the left tackle off the map in the game a couple years ago. That's the point that Prime was making. Prime did not condone it. He's not saying it's okay or however else you want to try to misconstrue what is being said. Everybody steals signs. We're aware of this. Not everybody's paying to have people go to different locations to film signals. Like, that's it. And so yesterday, what really sent me into the abyss was, so you and Sanders are saying it's okay to cheat. Both of yous should quit talking virtues. Harbaugh should have sent their cheaters to TCU. Took you 1 and 15 minutes to bring it up this morning. Use some common sense. If you know the play, you have a better chance to stop it. Thought you were better, Anthony. That was the key line right there. That was it. That's what sent me. So I'm asking you, when did myself or Deion Sanders ever say that it was okay to cheat? When you find that timestamp, send it to me. If not, then you probably need to shut up, because that's not what was said. So either you have a listening comprehension problem, or we can review the same topic again. It took me 1 hour and 15 to bring it up yesterday. I don't even know, what did we talk about yesterday? We had John Wagner on. I asked him ahead of time, do you want to talk about Michigan? He said, not really. I'd rather talk about baseball. I said, okay, we can do that. We had the Red Wings. They played a game. We have a job to do. I'm not going to sit here and smack the same topic for 3 hours every day. It's easy. It's way easier. I can do that if you need me to. But no, there's other things to talk about that, as a morning show host, I feel are important to our audience. Said it would make no difference. You still have to make the play. Like, no big deal. Prime knows going to be a run, fill the box. Not hard. How are you going to tell me what Deion Sanders does or doesn't know? Deion Sanders, that's what he said about it. He really doesn't care. That's what he's telling you. He's saying in baseball, it's different because if you know curveball's coming, you can adjust your swing to that. It's completely different. The physicality of football is the part that Deion is emphasizing. At the end of the day, you can know runs coming, but if they are going to put their hands on you and bleep whip you around the field, you're not going to be able to stop it. That is the point Deion Sanders is making. At no point did Deion Sanders condone cheating. That's it. So that is what I expressed. Take care. They may have broke the rules. Pay the price. Should not be condoned. Stealing signs is what it is. Going to the games, filming is against the rules. Not fair to all the other young men on other teams and players for their here we go with the dreams and the young men. Oh, my God. If cheating did not work, why go to do all that? Pass play, keep safeties back. Run, fill the box. Common sense. Turn on both sides of the brain here, folks. So what did I do? I took a picture. This is what I do. I take a picture of the Washington Post. Here's what, maybe the written word on what Prime was saying would help. Maybe it would. I just listened to what I heard on your show. All one had to say is rules may have been broken and price should be paid. That's what we compared it to yesterday with Austin Meek. It's pass interference. It's holding. You broke the rules. Here's the penalty. Now, the biggest concern now is what is the penalty going to be? Is it going to be a postseason ban? Is Jim Harbaugh done? I mean, the more I think about it, the more it looks like that. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. Now I can only listen to different parts. Yesterday, I heard it was a rule and will be penalized. But. Interview with Chris Wormley today, once again. No big deal. Still have to make the play. You agreed with Prime. I do agree with Prime because Prime is correct. You still have to make the play. You can get the signal in the pitch, right? Let's say they put the little buzzer on me and you. We play for the Astros. And you know it's a curveball. Me and you aren't hitting that curveball. We're not. Here's the other thing. Dude, it's over. It's over. They're done. They're cooked, as the kids say. You have a smoking gun. You got Colonel Mustard in the library with a candlestick. And it's all on paper. It's a wrap. They're probably, that's what I'm going to say. They're probably going to ban them from the Big Ten Championship. This is going to go on. This is going to stain the program for years to come. I think yesterday I said 100 years. I mean, we're probably not even, humans probably won't even be on this planet in 100 years based on our current trajectory. So maybe it doesn't go 100, but it's going to be a long time. This is going to define the Jim Harbaugh era. This story right here. And for Michigan fans, it's disappointing. There's no sense in defending it. Just let it go, man. It doesn't change your life one bit. Your Ohio State fans might talk some smack. I've already gotten multiple messages about it. So they say, one guy says, cheaters. So what I do, I send an emoji of an owl. That was my way of saying, whoo. See what I did there? Let it roll. Let it roll, man. Because if there's a great quote out there from, I don't know when it was, probably 4th century, something like that. It's reiterated on Game of Thrones. Those who hand out the sentence should swing the sword. Right? That means if you're going to condemn somebody to death, you're the one that has to put their head on the chopping block. That's where we're at. We are right there. You ever see that last scene in Braveheart? When they're stretching them out and they throw them on that table, on that cross, and they, I forget what the actual term of that is, but they basically put the hook in you and they rip your guts out while you're still alive. I can't believe I forgot what the name of that is. It's a good deterrent, though. I don't know if I'd want to break the rules if that's the punishment. I don't know if I think I want to play by the rules if we're doing that. And he yells freedom and he drops the cloth, his wife's hanky. Remember that? That's where we're at, folks. If you're a Michigan fan, you are William Wallace on that block. You are at episode 1 of the Game of Thrones season 1 when Ned Stark is taking that guy who ran from the wall and they put his head out there and he has to take his young boy with him. He's probably 10 years old and he wants to bring his youngest son to see what happens. And the youngest son has to sit there and watch his dad cut another guy's head off. and you thought you were tough. Like, this is where we're at, bro. I don't know how else I need to say it. Like, I just want to make sure we're all clear. Because for some reason, when you talk about this for 3 hours a day, every day of the week, some people still fail to realize, like, oh, you played Coach Prime. I played Kirby Smart's audio, too. You know what I thought was funny about Kirby Smart? Is the way that Kirby Smart and Georgia kicked our ass. And they said, well, I didn't see any evidence of them doing anything like that. Like, that's such a shot. It's such a backhanded, like, they suck. What do you mean, steal? Go ahead, steal our signs. You guys can't even score. It was 21-0. I went and got more beer. I was at Hard Rock. I watched that. I had to listen to those people bark every kickoff. I thought it was great, by the way. I mean, Georgia fans, I mean, they were great. I was walking around in my little Michigan quarter zip on, and this little girl came out of nowhere. She's probably like, I don't know, 12. And starts barking at me. I'm like, what the hell? I almost kicked her. I didn't know what to do. I realized, hey, it's a small child. Can't do that. But this is the most fair and most honest program in America. I don't just say that. I mean, I do just say that, and I do get a good kick out of it. But I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be honest about it. I'm going to give you the truth as I see it. And guess what? Really good example of how I approach life. Friday, when I poked fun at this thing, I had more information by Monday. I had more information Tuesday. And yesterday, I had more information. Today, at this point in time at 6:52, I have the most information possible about the story. That's where I'm at. And as I continue to gain information, my opinion changed from Friday to Thursday. Because as an intelligent species, the most intelligent species on the planet, you're supposed to be able to do that. You are supposed to be able to, here's the original problem, here's what's being said, here's more information. Wait a minute now, we need to ask some questions. And every time I ask a question, every time I'm like, hey, wait a minute, something stinks here. People get all like, oh, my God. You know, if you're not on one side of the train, trust me, I've been on the other side of the tracks, folks. I did it for like 3 years, and I'm still doing it. For the amount of malarkey that we have had to put up with over the last 3 years, you know what I'm talking about here. I mean, you fired a coach that was winning Super Bowls and put in a guy that can't put together a sentence in front of the American people. Like, so, I mean, come on. You get more information, you're allowed, because I am drowning right now in this story. You're more interested in talking about how smart you are than explaining the new evidence that changed your opinion and what you think will happen. I didn't say I was smart. I said my opinion evolved. That's what I said. But I did have a 24 on my ACT, if that counts for anything. Take a chill pill, Chief. We can redeem ourselves by whooping the rest of the schedule. Doesn't change anything, unfortunately. Doesn't change anything. You can go out there and beat Ohio State by 100. Wouldn't matter. The amount of bleach you need for this stain right here. You need purple power for this. I don't know if you guys know what purple power is, but if you live in any, like, work in any sort of like industry where the floor is going to get stained, like maybe you work with like grease. It's a good way to put it. I work with blood. I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but that's the truth. Purple power is the truth. Like that, you lay some purple power down the ground and get your floor brush out and start scrubbing. Woo! It picks up everything. I'd be careful, Anthony. There are slappies. Yeah, I can't. Might have you kicked off the Michigan Sports Network. Huge is not going to kick me off the Michigan Sports Network. Amen, Anthony. Bummer with the blue. I bleed maize and blue, but yep, we need to back out of everything. We don't deserve it. Thanks for hitting all different areas. That's why you and Huge are my favorite. The repeats bug the crap out of me with the mainstream guys. Trashman Niles from Sparta. It's just an awesome city name, Sparta. Let's get to Dave in Hudsonville. Wants to talk about Michigan. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Morning, brother.
Did you hear how smart I said I was? By the way, that's an all-time text. I should have saved that.
You know what, Anthony? I'm going to reframe that. I think you're probably the most rational Michigan fan, or you could be a Spartan fan if it was the shoe on the other foot with our situation in talking about this. So I appreciate that. And I guess what I will say is, fandom at university level is much like our politics right now. You've got extremes on both ends that aren't going to believe no matter what goes on, and then you try to get a moderate middle. So thank you for being moderate. But what I will say is this hasn't come up yet. You know, Jim Harbaugh with the university, you know who's sitting in their offices right now going, what the hell, is Ward Manuel and Santo Ono. Like, what did you just do to us? You know, and they should be taking action really, because now they know, and like you said, it's a done deal. They're best off as the AD and the president of the university and the trustees to do something proactively to be kind of that leaders in the best, you know, and take that ownership of what goes on and so forth. Because Harbaugh puts them on these platitudes about, oh, we're the ones that fight all the cheaters and whatever it may be, and he sets them up for this. It's so ironic. And then the other thing that's terrible is, what are you saying to your team? You know, your guys in the locker room, we don't believe we can beat them straight up. Yeah, we'll scout, we'll do our things, but we have to go to this extreme in order to try to, you know, beat our rivals and beat these other teams and whatever it may be. That's a dangerous precedent, too, and I think it's a terrible message for your team.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the bye week is really, really strange here. I don't know if I'd rather be on a bye week right now when this story breaks or actually have a game, to be honest with you. Because
no, you want a game. No way as a coach, and I've coached in high school and college. No way. You want.
But if you have the game, then you have the mandatory media availability, and then you got your players out there on the island getting grilled.
The only thing you have right now is because you don't have mandatory media. You're bleeding out. You're letting more and more stuff. They're not taking control of the story one bit because they have no control. You know that in the media. They have no control. There's not a storyline. There's not an explanation. Harbaugh tried to say he knew nothing about it. Hell, the whole staff knew. And it's just coming out. And all those kids on the sideline were doing it just as well as Stalions and the defensive coordinator and his buddy Jay Harbaugh, all that stuff. It's not good, but it's all bleeding out on them. So
wait till they get the video of me next to the wait till they get the video of me next to the replay guy. That's going to be here's a very interesting angle that that I saw yesterday from a very good friend of mine who covers the Ohio State Buckeyes. His name's Jeremy Birmingham. We've had him on the show. You can find him on Twitter at Berm, and he brought this up, and I it made me think twice because he's pretty rational. He covers the Buckeyes, but he's pretty rational. And somebody had asked him something about Las Vegas. And he responded with, I don't think that Vegas is the one that started it, but I do believe that they got a hold of it. Because with the way that Michigan has been a little bit of an outlier when it came to covering the spread, and things have changed a little bit. Whenever we say we coined Vegas, like how much, if they're like, hey, wait a minute now, we want this looked into, they will get something looked into. A lot of money. Jeremy had said, quote, I don't think it started with Vegas. I think it was turned over to Vegas. I think it started with the investigative organization most likely to turn over the info into the Washington Post. I think it's likely that it stems from Vegas losing a lot of money on this. And that could be very true. Could be very true. But I'd bet it had something to do with their sudden turnaround against the spread. And this is a graphic. Ryan had put these numbers up on the screen Friday, maybe Monday. Michigan against the spread from 2015 to 2021, and then 2021 to today, and the drastic difference where they were right about 500 to overwhelmingly being able to cover. That is something that's interesting as well, because now that sports gambling, now that the toothpaste is out of the tube, if the powers that be are constructing these lines and things aren't working out, best believe they're going to make a couple phone calls. And how high, where those phone calls go, who makes those calls, I do not know. But if they see something, they are going to say something. You know, they've been known to they'll freeze betting on games in the middle of the game, live action. They'll freeze it. We're not. Nope. Something's not right here. I mean, hell, they froze. I think it was, what was it? European. It was like Eastern European, like a ping pong match or something. And they took all the ping pong matches off the board because something wasn't right. That's the level that they're at. I mean, you could bet on Indian cricket if you want to. Not like the bugs. I'm talking about the sport. So there's a lot to do here. Lot to do here. Ken wants to know, is this SMU bad or not quite to that extent? Ryan, good morning to you, my man. How are you, partner?
I'm doing good. Sounds like you're going through a little something the last few days. But I mean, I just got to raise one question. If you and your boys aren't writing a 600-page manifesto how to take over your favorite team, do you really have boys?
I mean, anytime you see something that's written that has the word manifesto in it, that's usually pretty concerning.
Yes.
It's usually
And
the first sign of see something, say something right there.
and I'll put this note too. That's how kind of we all kind of sit in the middle, you and I, of like fandom of like, yes, we can look at the bad of our teams, we can be happy for our teams, but this is how opposing fan bases, like the nut jobs, view also Michigan fans, that they're all this person writing the manifesto. So it's not good when all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's how you see us? Okay.
It's so it's we're in such a strange place right now, and my buddy Joe is all over this without kick. Right, we don't know what the punishment is going to be, and so everybody's like the NCAA blah blah. They move slow. They do move slow typically, but usually they move slow when they're going back retroactively trying to find something. I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now how many quote unquote scandals we've had in the middle of a season in which the NCAA has been forced to act swiftly.
And you're never handed just a full report like they are of the scandal. Like that's also different that this outside firm was contacted and like, here's our full report. And like, oh, thanks for doing a solid 2 years of work for us.
NCAA is the person in the group project that just didn't do anything but slap their name on it. And they're in charge, right? And so earlier today, when I had said that, yeah, if it's like, would I be surprised if the Big Ten allows them to compete for Big Ten championship? Yeah. I mean, I would be.
I don't know how quickly the Big Ten would come out with something. I think the first thing to watch, because I think it's next week, the college football rankings come out, the playoff rankings. What are they going to have to say? I mean, they're probably going to go status quo and just put Michigan 1 or 2 just until someone else makes a move, because that's also ultimately how college sports works, is no one really wants to make the first move.
And this is, and I think what comes of this will be the eventual change of communication in the helmet. I think that they'll put
100%.
they'll put the speaker in the helmet, and they'll allow the coordinators to have, their walkies to be able to discuss it. I think that is a positive that will come of this for all parties involved. And now we don't need the 15 guys on the sidelines flapping their wings and acting ridiculous. Dave Briggs of the Toledo Blade wrote a really good article where Jason Candle had made a comment like, "Hey, you want to see our playbook?" And Dave Briggs is like, "Yeah, like can I come see your playbook?" And he said, he's like, "I saw last week's play sheet. The dozens of different play calls for every down, distance, and situation that you could have. It's all right there." And that's kind of the, and Coach Candle had talked about, opposing teams that'll have like the big banners and stuff to block people from stealing their signs from behind or whatever the case may be. He's like, "Look, we just got to coach." He's like, we just got to coach. Like if we're going to run something and you think you're going to stop, if you could pick up our sign and you can relay that to your guys and you could do that all within 20 seconds and everybody can be on the same page, you could stop us, well, then you're a better coach than I am. It's like, all right. That's the most Jason Candle thing ever.
Right, and I think what this boils down to, because, again, I think what Dave from Hudsonville said is perfect. Like, college fans are like the political fans, pretty much, of, like, you have the crazies on each side and people that just exist in the middle. And, people on Michigan side say, this is no big deal, this doesn't change anything. Then you have the other people saying, this changes everything. Like, how dare you? You would have gone winless without stealing these. It's like, in reality, it's like, what happened? Michigan went from a good team to a great team using this. And that's what really, like, Harbaugh was a 10-win coach without doing this. And when this started, he went from a 10-win to an 11 and 12-win coach. because he wasn't doing this to beat Indiana. He wasn't doing this to beat UNLV. He was doing this to consistently pummel Penn State and to beat Ohio State. Like, and that's what it was used for.
And a big question now is, like, what happens? Everybody wants to know what happens next. And when there is some people just want me to come out and be like, we just got to get the death penalty. Like, no, I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to be that. Like, it's either the NCAA will come out and say, you're going to vacate all your wins during this point, from 2021 all the way up to either they say through this whole season or up until last week. And then it's the question of whether or not is if there will be a postseason ban. I think that's where it lies. There'll be a fine. You might lose a scholarship or two, but it all, the real question everyone has is, will Michigan be playing for a national title this year? Because I don't think they believe it's because of how good the team is. It's whether or not if they're allowed to.
Yes. Yeah, and that's basically what I was trying to say.
That's all anyone cares about. No one cares about next year at this moment because no one knows what next year. You don't know who your quarterback's going to be next year. You don't know who your head coach is going to be next year. You don't know what this team is going to be like. What Michigan fans know now is that their team is arguably the best college football team in the country right now. Can we play for a national title this year, or did this royally screw us?
And I think of what, regardless of what the ban or what the penalty might be, the shadow that it casts on the program, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time.
I think Anthony Broom tweeted something out the other day of for some Michigan fans, just having the dark shadow just is punishment enough of just how they view the school. Not punishment enough, but the biggest punishment I could feel is that they no longer are, the moral superiority of college athletics.
You remember when the Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but if you look at all of college athletics, we're all the same. Okay. It's no one can play the moral superiority. All right. It's Ohio State, you've had a doctor that's done stuff. Michigan, you've had a doctor that's done stuff. Michigan State, you've had a doctor. USC, you've had a doctor that's done things. It's we've all had coaches do dumb things. We've all had players do dumb things. No fan could sit there and say, My program's clean. Guess what? Northwestern, you can't say that anymore. Get the hell out of here.
Take Boo Booey with you.
Yeah. Don't get me started. I was feeling good. Michigan State beat Hillsdale by 45 last night. Cone cars throwing down slam dunks. I don't even think about Boo Booey right now.
Okay.
All right?
Sorry about that.
Don't bring me down with you. All right? I know hurt people hurt people.
Misery loves company.
Hey, but I think it's just – I think some Michigan fans, granted there's some fans in all fan group, that honestly felt that Michigan could never do no wrong. And it was always, Michigan versus everybody. That they were just picking on them because, well, we're Michigan. We have the most wins in college football history. Every time that we lose, it's the ref's fault or the time ran out. I think that just for those fans, it might have brought a dose of reality to them. Be no, you were caught, and how you were caught, whoever, it doesn't matter who garnered the report, because guess what? It's all there. You did it. My only question is Matt Weiss, when he got arrested for those computer crimes, is this all connected to that?
So allegedly, this is separate. Allegedly, according to Ann Arbor PD, this is completely separate. I forget where I saw that yesterday, but that was asked.
I still want to know what happened with that, because it felt like if it was something really serious, like an actual crime, like, because we all know what computer crimes mean when someone just gets up and arrested. It normally has something to do with something really bad. I really don't want to say it on air, but we kind of know what it is. And normally you hear if it's that, but we just didn't hear anything. Because I saw some, and God bless the crazy college football fans, I saw some message board stuff that it was, they were hacking into other teams' databases. But again, that was one message board. I'm not saying that was it, but it's like, I just want to know if this is somehow like somewhere connected.
Yeah.
Because it would make more sense and just kind of like answer that question, like, all right, see ya. We're done with that story.
Yeah, this is and the thing about it is that I don't, this is good.
Like, I think it was Ken that tweeted it in. Like, is this going to be SMU and the death penalty? No. Like, it's not. It's for in-person scouting. That's why you hear every NFL person that is commenting on it that read one line of a story say, this is no big deal. It's like, yes, because this isn't a rule in your sport. So it's foreign to you.
And this is one of the reasons.
Like, step out of the conversation because you don't know what you're talking about at this moment because you only read one sentence or you didn't even get that far. You read a headline and you go, well, that's legal in the NFL. This is stupid. Why that's not a penalty? It's like, it is, but it's serious, but it's not that serious.
Yeah, and it's not so much about the actual sign stealing because, as all coaches say, like, yeah, I mean, this is actively going on, during the game. It's how they went about it in the violation of the rule that's what's being investigated, not the actual
right.
the stealing of the sign. Sure, but it's like, yeah, this is the rule since 1994. You can't travel, you can't record. They've got a paper trail. And this is one of those things where I'm going to get skewered for this. I already know. I'm already getting skewered for it, and it's 7:47 in the morning. But at the end of the day, like, this is why, I walk the fine line that I do. And you look at this from the perspective of just trying to be moderate, right? You don't have to lean one way or the other, just trying to be down the middle and look at it as objectively as possible. And it's like, look, the NCAA doesn't move quick. The Big Ten might move quick. I don't know. People already talk about legal ramifications if it's found out to be not true. Like, I mean, we have the allegedly the evidence to show that it is true. We have a paper trail. Like, what would not be true about it? And so when I see people getting all fired up, on either side, whether it's visiting teams or it's my own home team, like, people are getting so worked up over it.
You can drop the visiting teams. You can just say Michigan State, Ohio State fans. They're the ones that are dancing on the metaphorical grave.
But even some other fans around the country, some different message boards and some different like Twitter accounts that I've seen where people are just getting after it, and it's like, look, we got to be. You got to be as about right down the middle as possible. Like, here's what happened, and here are the potential repercussions of this. And if that is to, if that is what comes down the pipeline, if they swing the hammer at you, like, here's the next question: would you rather this punishment be immediate, or would you rather have to go back in time and vacate the wins because you're on the precipice of hitting 1,000 wins and being the first school to do so? And you look at the way for example, the Bo Schembechler story. So that story came out, and it forced a lot of things to be changed. Now, I know that people still say, well, you still got Schembechler Hall. You still got the statue. But if you look at the intro video from years past to this year, it is drastically different because a lot of those things were omitted. So one of the things that I was thinking about is like, okay, if this goes down,
Hitler in there, because that's a move I feel schools are trying out.
Easy, Sparty. But like if this goes down in worst case scenario, right? If this goes down the way that some think that it might, what do you do about that video? And it's not just the actual video. It's what is in the video. It's what the video means, right? Not the actual minute and 30 itself.
Yeah.
So do you take like what do you do with all of this stuff? The photos, the imagery, the slogans, like all of it. Like it's an intertwined web here of just a lot to try to sift through, and we can't really do. Now we're just a plane in a holding pattern. That's the worst part about it. Like we know what's on the ground.
A new leak will come out, because that's all we've had to do was just wait a few hours, and our whole entire opinion will change on the matter. Because as you said last week, you're just like, Steel Team 6, this is ridiculous. It's just this Connor kid, and then every few hours it's like, oh no, we have a nutso who infiltrated the whole football program. And now we're all in deep trouble.
I love the idea that like everybody frantically like this counter espionage sort of like spy games that are being played. And I said this to the guy last night who was just badgering me over my agreement with Prime that at the end of the day you still got to stop it because that's the truth. I'm not saying it doesn't create an advantage, but you still have like the physicality of the game part. And so going back and forth, and I'm like, look, I don't know how much longer I can do this, but we don't know what happens next. And that is the most difficult thing about all of this, is you have no idea what comes next and how it changes the future and the trajectory of Michigan football.
Right. You're gonna have to look this year for the Big Ten or the NCAA to come out and be like, okay, where did you go this year? I know they have all those schedules. I know I haven't read up, memorized everything that's been going on in all this to make a decision of what will happen this year. Like if you were in-person scouting and recording this year, like I could see the NCAA and Big Ten saying, you know what, you are banned from this year's postseason play while we complete this investigation. Because I think there's enough evidence here to show that you have gathered enough evidence on other teams outside of your own conference.
Oh,
well, like I said, that's how I could see it going down. I don't know if it will, because again, we know the NCAA moves slow. Like,
yeah.
We also know like sometimes they don't like to do anything.
Right, well, yeah, and sometimes then they're like, well, what can we do, right? And that's the issue that the NCAA has had for years. It's like, yo, how much power do we actually have? Keep the power in your radio turned up.
They'll figure out that Nevada was doing this 2 years ago, and they'll give the death penalty to Nevada while Michigan gets a fine.
Better them than us, right?
Basketball.